the day he finally could escape. There was a loud rip, as if Jell-O was being scraped out of a bowl with the edge of a metal spoon, and an opening was created from the world in between. A large, furry beast that was once known as a light elf named Lucius stepped through the opening and onto the carpet, leaving soggy puddles with each step. He let out a roar, opening his arms wide and balling his hands into fists as he tilted back his head, loose on the world again. The bellhop waiting by the elevator startled and dropped his phone in mid-text. "Shit! What the—" He glanced nervously down the hall at room 302. "Not again!" He jammed the elevator button, willing it to come faster, even though all he previously knew of the room were the stories the clerk behind the counter liked to tell him. Until that moment, he was sure she was flirting with him. He leaned over, keeping his eyes on the door, and scooped up his phone as the elevator doors opened. He stepped in, biting his lower lip as another roar echoed down the hallway. "Come on, come on, come on!" He pushed the lobby button and used his key to make sure the elevator wouldn't stop at any other floors. "I am so out of here. I'm quitting this gig hard. Rather be asking strangers if they want fries with that. At least I get to keep all my parts." The beast went to the window and looked out at the bright day below, watching all the people wandering around 6th Street below, going in and out of the bars and restaurants, laughing and talking loudly. "Rosden will pay for this. 800 years. Best part? The bitch will never see it coming." His last taste of freedom was at the height of battle as he stood by the great kings to defeat Rosden. He had his sword at the Atlantean's throat as he protected the old king of Orosaren. But victory was not going to be his that day. Rosden raised up an arm before he could plunge the steel into flesh, and whispered a spell, sending a creeping darkness throughout Lucius' body. A startled look had come over his face just as he was shoved into the abyss of the world in between. The battle had raged on without him. Lucius moved around the room, feeling solid ground underneath his feet. He flexed his muscles, feeling the air on his skin. "Been far too long." His veins pulsed black under his mottled, pale skin, cursed a long time ago with powerful dark magic. It took some time, a few hundred years, but eventually he grew patient and learned how to bend all the darkness trapped in the world in between to his will. Draw it to him, capture it, and suck it dry to make it his own. Turned out, the curse had a silver lining. It possessed a magic all its own. He learned to become his own relic, and even within the confines of the world in between, he taught himself about the curse. He learned how to become a shifter, turning into the beast, heightening his senses and feeling the trails of dark magic even in the world in between. He sought out the other darkness, moving more easily through the gelatinous void, eventually gaining enough power to send out energy into the world. Lucius took a deep breath, inhaling as he lifted his chin again, focusing. The skin along his large arms rippled, and the bones along his face shifted as he cried out from a familiar pain. He shook violently as his body quickly took on another form, with the sound of bones cracking and reforming until a light elf stood in room 302, wearing full Orosaren leather battle armor, a scowl on his face. The curse had a very dark lining to it as well. It had poisoned Lucius a long time ago until all he could see was revenge, and all he felt was rage. He opened the door to the hallway and surprised a young man on the way back to his room. The man quickly slid into his room and shut the door, locking it. "South by Southwest always draws the crazies," he whispered as he stood back from the door. Lucius drew in enough magic to fling open the door in the room next to him. He rifled through all the belongings, pulling out clothes similar to what he saw on the street below. "Somewhere in this world, Rosden still exists. I can feel it." The anger pulsed in his head. Nothing was close to the right size. He went to the next room and emptied drawers, searching for clothes that would fit. Most of the guests were...